Hi guys, I have Batman here, and his sister Robin is running around somewhere with a tennis ball. I came back from Millions Missing and it was really amazing. I should have a video up of my experience with the whole protest. It was just really fun and really enlightening to talk to so many people with CFS, ME, and be so involved. The video I wanted to make today will be addressing some questions that people have been asking me. People have asked me to tell my story, and I've had a lot of trouble with that because it's a really long story. When someone says, "Hey, what's your story?" It's always really long and it's hard to know what to leave out or not. But then someone from Millions Missing asked me to uh, talk briefly about myself, and it didn't end up being brief at all. But when I did that, I realized that this could be used as my story, and then additionally, this could also be something that I could tell health officials if I were ever asked. At least something to improve on. It's a start. It wasn't meant to be that, but when I read it, I'm like, I wouldn't mind telling a health official this, especially the last half, which I'll read to you. So I might be looking off a little bit because I'm going to be reading this and improvising a little bit, but I really want to sort of convey a little bit of what I've been through and just try to recap everything and a bit how I feel about this disease and the lack of medical care. So here it goes. I'm 26 and I have been sick for 2 years too long. I was graduating from college and working full time when I started to lose weight, get fatigued, and cognitively impaired after mold exposure and 2 back-to-back viruses. I started going downhill slow and then fast, seeking help at doctors and being told to drink Ensure to gain weight. And then I dangerously dropped from 130 pounds to 102 pounds in a matter of weeks. And still I was being told to drink Ensure. My blood tests indicated a virus or infection. In fact, my blood tests scared 2 doctors so much that they had to double check that I didn't have cancer or HIV, and I was rushed into the emergency room when they saw my blood tests. Yet, when they did not find anything, I was released with a diagnosis of probably chronic fatigue syndrome, and I was told to just wait since there was supposedly nothing I could do about it. And this I want to add, they said most chronic fatigue syndrome patients, it passes in 3 to 4 months, which is very, very incorrect medical information, but I'll tell you why I can't really blame this doctor that much, because he did not learn about this in medical school. I had been waiting over 2 years, and I can tell you, although I have found methods through no help of conventional doctors, I am not over it as the doctors promised. I did more testing over the months to indeed conclude that I have chronic fatigue syndrome, a name that I am almost too embarrassed to say. I prefer myalgic encephalomyelitis. If my doctor would have told me that there are CFS specialists out there that could help me, I would have found some relief from my everyday torturous hell I lived in much sooner. And that is very blunt, but if you have this disease, I think that some of you can maybe relate to that. I don't blame my doctor, as he was not taught about CFS in medical school. I am actually one of the lucky ones, as he knew literally a thing or two about CFS only because he took it upon himself to research it. His medical school did not teach him about this disease that destroys millions of lives. That's right, not 1 minute of CFS education. I might as well be living in the 80s in Lake Tahoe when doctors would say the exact same thing. And that I was just trying to point out when there was the huge Lake Tahoe an Incline Village exposure, and when I read about that, I felt like I was living back then when they didn't have any information about it, and they're like, you have something but we're not sure what it is. I was told something similar to that many times. So it just felt like not a lot had changed in the past 30 years in that regard. I was by myself, in pain, unable to eat, crying, unable to stand up, lymph nodes swollen and throbbing, and I thought I was alone and that this was my life for the rest of my life. The ultimate sense of hopelessness, as that is all that doctors gave me. I knew that there had to be something I could do. I went onto support groups for CFS, ME, where I met thousands of sufferers, some just like me, some doing much better, and some even worse. I asked questions aimed toward patients that had excelled and could even have a normal life at least some of the time. To my surprise, there were tons of things that I could do to at least try to help with the symptoms. Through trial and error, I had some terrifying near-death experiences with medications, Cymbalta, but through research, I found low-dose naltrexone, an immune modulator that I like to say gave me my life back, for at least a while. I could not believe that this was not more popularly talked about. My fevers disappeared the next day. I could take a walk past the block, and I could wrap my mind around the idea of having a normal life. Low-dose naltrexone helps my immune system greatly, but it isn't a cure. I started to spread the word, and many people who hadn't heard of it and tried it got better. Patients that had been told there was nothing they could do to get better, some of them have even been sick for 40 years and have been suffering for 40 years, tried it, and greatly improved. I made it my mission to inform as many people as I could about LDN and other treatments that may help them. Although I love doing this and I live for this, isn't this what doctors should be doing? Patients are working from the ground up to inform doctors about medical treatments. Shouldn't it be the other way around? And the doctors that are looking for medical treatments don't get the funding to do so. I was a surfer for a knack for psychology, concerts, dancing, helping people, and so much more. I always loved science and healthcare, and I had a job as a caregiver when I got sick. It was the most heartbreaking moment to go from the strong young woman that lifted my brain-injured client up for her daily walks on the beach and her physical therapy to an anorexic-looking shell of who I used to be. And I'd randomly get so dizzy, I would have to plop on the couch and sleep without much of a choice. When I woke up, my 65-year-old, severely disabled client was taking care of me. The roles had switched. I realized how fast an illness can steal everything from you, how easily life can change, and I hope in the future health officials can help to change it for the better with more funding. It can be them. It can be their sons, their daughters, their sisters and brothers. This illness does not discriminate, and it kills everything but your physical being, and sometimes it even takes that too. I will continue to spread awareness to the CFS, ME community, and I hope our health officials will help lead the way as millions of us are waiting to get our lives back. So scared Patty. So that's what I wrote. I hope you guys liked it. That was supposed to be a brief description about myself. You could tell I'd be a blast at parties when people ask me about myself. I tend to ramble, but I hope you guys liked it, and I'm going to upload my Millions Missing journey. It was a lot of fun and really enlightening and heartbreaking all at the same time, and I'm going to put a link at the bottom to see how you can get involved with Millions Missing and the ME Action Network and get involved in any way you can. This movement is growing, and I thought this might be a small drop in the pond, but it ended up being a bigger drop than I thought. So I'm really excited for the future at this point. All right, happy, hope, and healing.